If I say the word bodybuilding, what comes to mind?
Oh! Get to the chopper!
But for real, you probably conjure up some images of massive muscles, tiny speedos, and a significant supply of tanning spray. And if any of you out there have ever tried to emulate this style of training for yourself, you might also think of repetitive training sessions, chicken breast broccoli, feeling sore and cranky, energy and calorie depleted, and last but not least, stiff. Hey, we all want to look good, and it's no fun spending hours in the gym and passing on French fries if you don't see some visible results. But there are much better ways to get a fantastic physique and enjoy the process and how it makes you feel. So let's skip past all that suffering, and I'll show you how to make looking good and moving well a sustainable part of your lifestyle. I want to make a note that today's video does not apply to you if you are in fact a competitive bodybuilder. To get competitive bodybuilder extreme results, you will need to do some extreme things. And that is what sets the professional sport apart from you and me. But if you want to get visible muscles, play sports, feel confident, and full of life, with some changes that won't take all your willpower to keep doing, then these tips are going to be for you. Mistake number 1, extreme bulking and cutting. Should I bulk or should I cut? Have you ever heard this question? We all know we have to eat less to lose weight and vice versa. Calorie surplus and deficit will always be part of the nutrition conversation. But like most things, people just take it too far and too fast. If you cut a ton of calories, yes, you will see faster change. But you're also going to be hangry, depleted, and unable to give your best in your workouts. On the flip side, if you try and bulk up too quickly, you're likely going to feel bloated, sluggish, and uncomfortable. It will likely affect your digestion and even your sleep. After working with thousands of athletes over the years, it is safe to say that moderate changes bring the longest lasting results. Instead of wild swings between binging and restricting, go for the slower changes that you can be very consistent with that allow your body and routine to adapt. This is how you're going to keep your energy, mood, and focus as high as possible. I'm going to give you a link in the description below to my functional bodybuilding macro calculator. If you go there and you input all your information, you're going to get a specific macro plan for you. And what you're going to see when you choose the goal is that we have high ends and low ends that are called challenge goals. This means these are bigger percentages of restriction and bigger percentages of surplus. If you go for the challenge fat loss, you will definitely feel hungry. And if you go for the challenge muscle gain, you're definitely going to feel overstuffed at times. My recommendation is only go for those if you don't have much else going on in life and you can really dial in these changes. Otherwise, stick to the goals that are closer to the middle of the range. These would be body recomposition or lean muscle gain. You'll find these much easier to be consistent with. And if you can be a little bit patient, you'll start seeing results that will last for a long time. Mistake number 2, boring bro splits. The good old bro split. Some variation of push, pull, legs, or back, chest, buys, and tries. Rinse and repeat, rinse and repeat. The good news about the bro split is that your training doesn't have to be complicated to get results. But the bad news is that a split might just bore you to tears. And it also might leave out a lot of ways that you move in life and therefore make you vulnerable to injury if you never train those patterns, or perhaps just feeling not functional in your day-to-day. Instead of organizing your training by body part, I recommend organizing it by movement pattern. Think of all the ways that you move in life and for other sports. You bend, you push, you pull, you rotate, you squat, but then you get into the gym and you train on the same machines and you only train the same muscles in the same ways. You're leaving so much strength and refreshing variety on the table. Here are 2 examples of how you could organize your training with movement patterns instead of trying to find the perfect body part split. One of my favorite functional bodybuilding splits is Monday being an upper body push and pull day in the horizontal plane. Then Tuesday, we follow up with a lower body day that is squatting and hinging focus. We'll rest on Wednesday and then come back on Thursday for another upper body push and pull session, but now we're going to be focused on vertical plane movements like the strict press and the pull-up. Friday, we're back to lower body But now we're focused on single leg squatting, so lunges and split squats, and hip extension exercises like the hip thrust. Saturday, we might do some aerobic bodybuilding or some interval work, and then Sunday, rest so that we can be ready to start again on Monday. A second functional bodybuilding split that I love to use is Monday being a squat and pull day. So we're gonna get upper and lower body training on the same day, focusing on squatting and pull-ups and rows. Then on Tuesday, we're gonna do an overhead push. Resting on Wednesday, coming back on Thursday to do a heavy lower body day with single leg and hinging. And finally on Friday, we're gonna push and pull and do arms for all upper body training. Saturday might again be an aerobic bodybuilding day or an interval day, something that's gonna give our muscles a chance to refresh and rest after a heavy week of strength training. With these movement pattern splits, you're still gonna hit your legs, your chest, your bicep, and the rest. But you'll be emphasizing what those muscles allow you to do, not just how they look when they get flexed. In my formative bodybuilding years, there was always a disconnect between this approach to training and the concept of health. I always craved something more athletic in the gym that felt similar to the sports that I was playing and helped get me better. Focusing on movement patterns is one piece of this puzzle for sure, and that also brings me to my next key point. Mistake number 3, limiting exercise selection. Walk into any gym, and unless someone has a very creative use for the cable machine, you are likely going to see the same exact moves. Expanding variety in exercise selection isn't about being fancy for show. It's about making sure you develop balanced strength in large and small muscles, in big compound movements and small isolation ones, and especially on the front and the back of your joints and from side to side as well. In 2017, I began to bring the two worlds of CrossFit and bodybuilding together. And there are so many movements from across the strength and conditioning worlds that seem to get left out of the party in either of these two disciplines. The perfect middle ground is when we can train in a way that helps you feel strong and capable and helps you look phenomenal. Yes, training can accomplish both, and it can be adaptable for many different training settings, be it at a conventional gym, functional fitness gyms, or even in your garage. Exercise selection is where this happens. A traditional bodybuilding routine probably includes the following: leg press, bench press, back squat deadlift, lat pull downs, seated cable rows, dumbbell bicep curl, and tricep push downs. And here are just a few functional bodybuilding additions. Again, not just for getting fancy for no reason, but to bring the look good and move well worlds together. Some push exercises I love are the glute bridge dumbbell bench press, the banded parallel push-ups. For pulling, a single arm ring row or an RNT dumbbell row. For squatting, try the ATG split squat or a cyclist 1 1/4 squat. Want a new hinge exercise? How about the RNT deadlift or the split stance good morning? For arm training, how about the top down alternating dumbbell bicep curl or the kettlebell bicep curl eccentric? Training shoulders, the kettlebell chop and lift is awesome, and so is the Philly press. And for some core variation, why don't you try these landmine rotations or the ring body saw? You might find the variety of movements a challenge if you try functional bodybuilding, but they are all representations of just a few movement patterns, and they're gonna bring a new level of fun to your training while also helping you feel strong, stable, and confident. Mistake number 4, cardio as an afterthought. The spatial layout of most conventional gyms makes me pretty sad. Look, I get that there are space considerations that have to be made. I also understand that all some people want to do is watch daytime TV on the elliptical, but the cardio corner has got to go. Because one of the most fun and satisfying aspects of training is building up your work capacity. In other words, taking those weights and cardio machines and smashing them together. If your bodybuilding style workout has any cardio at all, it probably says to do 20 to 30 minutes of whatever after you've done your weights. Not only would this bore me into oblivion, it's also wasting your precious time that you could have been spending on getting even more jacked and more functional. I'm going to introduce you to 2 styles of weights plus cardio that are engaging and effective for building muscle, not to mention effective for spontaneous hikes, running after the bus, and all the other surprising and not so surprising demands of your actual fitness. The first format I call aerobic bodybuilding. In this format, you're going to get on a stationary bike and ride for 30 minutes at a moderate to easy pace. Every 5 minutes, you get off the bike and you get to mix up a couple different movements. In this format, you're going to be mixing in farmer's carries with heavy dumbbells. You're going to mix in elbow to tall plank for core, and you're going to mix in diamond push-ups for triceps and chest. After you finish doing those 3 movements back to back to back, you get back on the bicycle and you keep pedaling. At the next 5-minute mark, you do the same thing. So in the span of 30 minutes, you're performing 6 sets of this with equal time doing bike and farmer's carries, planks, and push-ups. An interval format that I love to use for cardio looks like this. Here you're going to grab a cardio machine like the rowing machine, and you're going to row for 300 meters. Once you get off the rower, you're going to perform 5 burpees. After that, you're going to perform 5 strict pull-ups. Take a 45-second rest and repeat that for 10 sets. You're getting pushing and pulling combined, as well as some cardio to improve work capacity and complement the push and pull work you do in your strength training so that you can keep building visible muscle. If you're interested, you can find a lot more training formats, conditioning formats inside of my Persist training program. But if you've never tried a functional bodybuilding conditioning piece, I think you're going to love it. And I'll make sure that the cardio won't steal your gains. Mistake number 5, ignoring mobility. Bodybuilding lifting culture is much more focused on peak contractions rather than range of motion. But what if I don't want to move like a stiff T-Rex? Functional training cemented for me the immense value that came with expanding range of motion and mobility. A focus on building better range in our joints means reduced pain, better quality of living, and more functional capacity in our bodies. Here are a few traditional moves that with a few subtle tweaks can open up a whole new range of motion for you. The first is the traditional split squat. Compare this to the ATG split squat. Similar muscle groups are getting trained, but we're moving through entirely different ranges of motion. You can also compare the conventional deadlift to the deficit Romanian deadlift, adding in range of motion, keeping the knee more fixed. And lastly, we could look at the low box step up versus something like the Cossack squat. I include lots of these variations in my own training and the workouts in Persist, and we always include mobility focused warm-ups and cool downs and recovery day flows as well. Do a little or do a lot. It doesn't have to take extra time. And you can work it right into your workout instead of needing to go to a separate yoga class. But a little preventative maintenance here pays off big time down the road. Bodybuilding has so much to offer, and it feels amazing to get a pump, satisfying to see the payoff of your hard work, and it's a great confidence booster. It can even make you better at CrossFit if you're into that kind of thing. I just hate to see people going down the roads that I've been that led to injury, setbacks, depression, and falling off the fitness wagon, making it so much harder to restart and get your mojo back. I hope today's video tips were helpful, and if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. If you know somebody that could benefit from seeing this and hearing these lessons, make sure to share it with them and drop a comment below and we can engage in a discussion about these methods. Look, I want to spread the word as much as possible that there isn't just one way to do bodybuilding. If you want to get results that are satisfying, long-lasting, and will keep you healthy too, why don't you give functional bodybuilding a try? Until then, I'll see you next time.